So some breaking news reporting from the New York Times is saying that Donald Trump is planning to pardon himself in his final days as president, and that might also include his children and some close allies like Rudy Giuliani. I want to read you some of the reporting, and then I want to talk a little bit about why this matters and why it matters that Congress and his cabinet move fast to stop him before he tries to do this. And it says here, President Trump has suggested to aides he wants to pardon himself in the final days of his presidency, according to two people with knowledge of the discussions, a move that would mark one of the most extraordinary and untested uses of presidential power in American history. In several conversations since Election Day, Mr. Trump has told advisors that he is considering giving himself a pardon and, in other instances, asked whether he should and what the impact would be on him legally and politically, according to the two people. It is not clear whether he has broached this topic since he incited his supporters to storm the Capitol. Mr. Trump has shown signs that his level of interest in pardoning himself goes beyond idle musings. He has long maintained he has the power to pardon himself, and his polling of aides' views is typically a sign that he is preparing to follow through on his aims. He has also become increasingly convinced that his perceived enemies will use the lever of law enforcement to target him after he leaves office. And it notes later on that he worries also about, say, Biden's legal administration, Biden's Justice Department, not only exploring charges against him, but against his children and other close allies, as I noted at the top. This is a man looking to escape accountability. Accountability for what happened over the past 24 to 36 hours, but also accountability for what's going to happen in the next few days. Let's be honest. His supporters are not going away. There will be potential events like that on Inauguration Day, potentially, and also what he's done over the last 4 years. You know, what he's done as president. And he's going to try to pardon himself. And we don't know the legality of it. Honestly, Nixon didn't pardon himself. Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon. His VP, after Nixon was gone, gave him a pardon. A president has never pardoned themselves. Never done it. So we don't know if that would stand up to court scrutiny. Maybe the conservative Supreme Court would side with Trump, but maybe they wouldn't. Who knows? The point is, this is a desperate man looking to escape the consequences of his own action and looking to protect his corrupt cronies and his corrupt children from the same fate. Simple as that. The 25th Amendment is needed now. Impeachment is needed now. I know that even if it's minutes before, Trump will try to pardon himself and those he feels, are most loyal to him. I know he will. I know he's going to do that. He probably has it ready to go. So I don't necessarily 100% think impeaching him now or invoking the 25th Amendment now might stop him. But who knows? And people need to try. It would be the ultimate, triumphs of justice if Donald Trump was planning to do this 8, 9, 10 days from now, and then Pence and the cabinet surprised him with the 25th Amendment imposition, potentially blocking him from pardoning himself and pardoning his crony children and his corrupt children and thugs like Rudy Giuliani. It'd be great. People need to have some bravery right now. His own party needs to show some bravery. Look, I'm not going to give a lot of credit to Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. When I talk about Schumer and Pelosi, it's usually to criticize them. I'm usually critical of neoliberal Democrats. But they've responded to the pressure from their own party, and they are calling for the quick removal of the president, and they are right to do so. Pelosi and Schumer have basically said today that if the cabinet does not remove Donald Trump, if they do not remove him, the Congress will work to get rid of him. I don't know if impeachment is feasible right now. Like, for instance, the House could move quite quickly. The House is Democratic controlled, and there's probably at least a few Republicans right now that would agree that Trump needs to go, even if it's just 1 or 2 or 3. There's enough votes in the House to turf Trump. It goes to the Senate, which is 50-50 right now. You need a 2/3 majority. I don't know if there's enough votes, but he needs to be impeached again, and his own cabinet needs to explore removing him. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is a man that sicked his thugs on the American people's representatives. This man has levied the most direct attack on American democracy domestically in 100 years, maybe. I'm trying to think of a moment more devastating than this. Maybe, the anti-civil rights efforts from some of the people in the South back in the 50s and 60s. Like, that's the latest thing I can think of in terms of true dedication to fighting democracy from within the United States. The Cold War era, attacks on free speech and McCarthyism. Things like that are the things that come to mind. And then Donald Trump. It's honestly, he's that bad. And so I think that this needs to be explored. He cannot be allowed to freely exercise these powers. If he tries, he needs to be stopped. There needs to be a full-fledged effort to stop this man from pardoning his own crimes. Whether that means fighting him now and trying to catch him off guard and get his powers away from him before he can use them, or whether that means, should he be able to pardon himself, that the court use every measure, that the government, after he's out of power, use every measure to fight that ability, to challenge it. Like, that's what needs to happen. This man needs to face the consequences. I have no illusion that Trump is going to be in jail. They're not going to send a former president to jail, however much he deserves it. But he should breathe every moment for the rest of his life without peace. He should die with this on his soul and this on his mind. He should never have a moment of legal or political or social peace. His attack on democracy should be a life sentence of struggle.